caused by the removal of fuel subsidy. The NLC is accusing the federal government of going back on the negotiations and failing to implement some of the resolutions from previous meetings held. On August 2, the NLC held a protest on what it described as the anti-people policies of the current administration. The NLC, Trade Union Congress, TUC, and affiliate unions demonstrated in Abuja and several states, including Lagos, Abia, Plateau, Kaduna, Kano, Rivers. The protests also held in Akwa Ibom, Zamfara, Katsina, Cross River, Ebonyi, Enugu, Kwara, Ogun, Imo, Ondo, and Edo. The protest was due to a 7-day ultimatum issued to the federal government demanding the immediate reversal of all anti-poor policies of the federal government. The policies include the recent hike in premium motor spirits (PMS), increase in public school fees, the release of 8 months withheld salary of university lecturers and workers. Also, the union demands an upward review of the minimum wage from 30,000 naira to 200,000 naira. President Tinubu announced the removal of fuel subsidy after his swearing in on May 29 in Abuja. The state government proposes a military manufacturing company to supply vehicles for Akwa Ibom as part of palliatives with a company that is ready to establish a gas point and workshop in the state. Governor Moina gave the explanation yesterday during the Government House monthly prayer meeting. He also spoke on palliatives underway for Akwa Ibom people. Government House reporter Patience John tells us more.
At the prayer meeting, which drew the clergy and political class, the governor reiterated the willingness of his administration to purchase buses for use by Akwa Ibom people, but gave conditions that must be fulfilled by the partner, while also advising leaders in youth to ensure that rice palliative that is underway gets to its intended beneficiaries.
I'm talking about the buses. In fact, this morning we have a meeting with the people that will give us these buses. But again, you know, there are CNG buses and we need not just buying the buses and stocking them. I don't work like that. We want to make them have their workshop here. We want to make them have their refilling points here. Until they do that, if you bring those buses, they'll just be lying down here and it doesn't make sense. And so until we're able to get any company, and so if you know anyone, talk to us. Let them open their workshop here. Let them have the gas refilling stations. Even if they give us 3, even if they are electric vehicles, you still need a charging point. If they just come and dump those buses on us, telling us they will do it, trust them, they will never do it. So if they want to do business with us, let them establish and put the gas point so that we can order from them.
A sermon by the Uyo Superintendent of the Apostolic Church, Apostle Eme Judge, encouraged Christians to keep trusting in God, who does not renege, and his promises. Apostle Judge advised leaders in various positions to ensure that they serve the people diligently in order to attract blessings from God.
Once it is settled in heaven, nothing can change. Power belongs to God. He gives it to whoever he is. And before he does it, he will reveal to people. And so, what must I do to be saved? Verse 31. And they said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved and thy house.
The Apostolic Church Choir and other groups ministered during the prayer meeting. Patience John, AKBC News.
Wife of the State Governor, Pastor Patience Umoino, has commended staff of Family Life Center VVF Mbritam for their commitment to restoring the dignity of women faced with challenges during childbirth. She made the commendation while presenting 3 medical equipment to the VVF Center donated by Isubi Banakwaibum in Dallas, United States. Margaret Bassi reports that the governor's wife also promised to offset the medical bills of one Blessing Ekanam and other patients there.
With the number of successful VVF repairs recorded in the facility, Pastor Patience Umoino noted that it is a proof of God's faithfulness and commended the donors for thinking humanity and contributing to the welfare and well-being of women in Akwa Ibom State, while advising women to always patronize experienced and licensed health facilities during childbirth. The governor's wife solicited that the new equipment be properly handled and used for the purpose for which it was donated.
Thank God for the opportunity He has given to the patients of this place. But the grace of God is all sufficient. That God has inspired somebody all the way from the United States of America to send this down to you. We say, may God bless her. Amen. Wherever she is, whatever she does, God bless and prosper her. Amen. And as you use this equipment, it will prosper in your hand. Amen.
The administrator of VVF Hospital Mbritam, Reverend Sister Rosemary Akpa, said the idea of the hospital was initiated by late Dr. Ann Ward and has had a total of 506 repairs in the last 5 years, out of which 339 were new patients and from different local government areas of Akwa Ibom State. Sister Akpa stated that the hospital is currently undergoing free surgical repairs in camps 4 times a year, which the last phase for this year will commence on 12 November 2023 with collaboration from University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, community leaders, St. Luke's Hospital Anwa, and other relevant stakeholders.
These women are the indigenous group that are very supportive to our ministry here in Etam. They have also donated a lot of medical consumables to support our work and even pay bills for some of our patients. We are very, very grateful.
The representative of the Sobiba Akwa Ibom, Dallas, USA, and wife of the paramount ruler of Akwa Ibom Mandobia, said the equipment donated by Enob Ebong through the ESOP was prompted by the need to contribute in solving the health challenges some women face during childbirth.
Those of you that understand what they are would know what they are and what they are being used for.
Testimonies were received from Blessing Ekanem and Happiness Udodo, survivors of vesico-vaginal fistula.
I was a patient here. After my treatment, they got all the instruments from me and they paid the short rent for 1 year and they gave me only 1,000. After I get to be almost 2 days.
The governor's wife told the hospital wards where she offset bills for some patients and others with financial assistance. Margaret Bassi, AKBC News.
House of Assembly has moved to tackle the menace and risk occasioned by indiscriminate abandonment of broken down vehicles on roads in the state. The House was acting on a motion brought before it by the Nsudi Ibom State Constituency Representative, Mr. Eric Akban. Legislative Affairs reporter Uyuko Swa completes the story.
Vincent Ibom State constituency lawmaker alluded to various fatal accidents recorded and others not recorded caused by indiscriminately abandoned vehicles on roads, especially without appropriate warning signs. He advocated strict penalties for individuals found to have contravened the law in accordance with existing traffic regulations.
The situation of this abandoned vehicle on the road caused a costly accident that took the life of a very beloved person. It's equally pathetic that about 3 or 4 years ago, the man and the woman who are supposed to be married on Saturday went for evening party on Friday. Coming back, now the vehicle ran into a stationary vehicle at Utam Street, and the couple died.
Mr. Rigakpan's motion was supported by his counterpart from Ibionibum, Ika Etemekbu, and Uran before the House resolution on the matter.
He died because a vehicle got accident or whatever happened, and it was abandoned at the night. There was not even a road sign to tell the other vehicle that is coming is danger ahead. It is a breach of traffic regulation. And so I look at the content of the motion and I feel extremely very excited to raise my voice and say this house is very important to play.
I want to say is that there should be time limits for cars, vehicles broken down on the road. That the vehicles cannot be moved, but there can be a warning that there should be time limits for the vehicles to be moved.
This house commission to write to the Road Safety Commission to stand up and do their duties, while also referring this motion to the House Committee on Roads and Transport to call on the Commissioner of Transport and let him know exactly what the House wants to do and communicate back to this House in less than 2 weeks.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Education is investigating a petition on an alleged unlawful termination of appointment by the Akwa Ibom State Polytechnic, Ikodosura. Details of the petition was read at plenary by the Chairman House Committee on Judiciary, Justice, Human Rights and Public Petitions, Prince Anifiogata.
Mr. Speaker, it is a petition of unlawful termination of appointment by the authority of Polytechnic, Ikodosura. The petition affects all the 5 persons.
The committee has 2 weeks to present its report. Uyoko Uswa, AKBC News.
Development, the Committee on Education of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly has been mandated to investigate the circumstances surrounding the abandonment of New Isian Model Secondary School, Isiedekam, in Uran local government area. The Uran State constituency representatives in the House, Dr. Ituro Bawaitam, at plenary in a motion called for the reviving of the school, which was built between 2003 to 2007, but remains inoperative since 2007. Again, Uyukuswa reports.
Calling to mind the beginnings of the project to the state where it was abandoned at 70%, the Uran State constituency lawmaker expressed worry that after 16 years, the facility has been allowed to deteriorate, while children of school age from Isiedekam have to travel across villages to attend schools.
Concerned that this situation has thrown the community into uncertainty, confusion, fear, and loss of hope for the educational advancement of their children. More concerned that the members of the community are slowly losing faith in governance and the promises of every administration. Confident that the intervention of this honorable assembly shall draw the attention of the current administration to the plight of my constituents, the Isiedekam people of one local government area. Let this honorable house resolve to 1. Mandate House Committee on Education to, as a matter of urgency, embark on an on-the-spot assessment of the new state public school in Isiedekam local government area.
And Committee Chairman, Education Committee.
what happens and report to us so that we know exactly where to go to. On that note, this mission is very good.
Uyoko Uswa, AKBC News.
As Akwa Ibom students await the proposed payment of the state government bursary, students of Uyo local government origin are already smiling to the bank as the council Thursday commenced payments of bursary to students from the area, urging them to see the money as the council's investment in their future. The chairman, Dr. Wumedi Moudo, promised to sustain his administration's focus on giving critical economic and social sectors and advised the students to make judicious use of the gesture.
It has been over 10 years Uyo students benefited from any form of financial grant from the council. This much justifies the excitement. Restating his commitment to leadership that prioritizes the people's welfare, the council chairman, Dr. Wumedi Moudo, described the gesture as an investment whose premium Uyo would reap when the students turn successful citizens in future. Dr. Udon noted that the initiative was the council's way of partnering Governor Umano deliver on his Arise agenda and promised to keep doing more.
Our intention is to touch every segment of our society so that everybody benefits from the government because of this is their resources that we are using. And we are using their resources to implement these programs. We have touched health, now we are touching education. In addition to this, we are going to also give project support to final year students to help them to defray the cost of doing their projects. This is in line with the Arise agenda of His Excellency Mr. Umo Baseno, His Excellency the Governor.
Some officials of the Uyo Local Government Council, between commendations for the council bus and advice to the students, lauded the gesture, especially at a time like this.
I pray that what the chairman is doing for you, you won't take it for granted. I pray that this sunrise will never be against.
You know, Doctor is from the university community. It's one of you. And this is one of the chairman, and we know that he loves this local government so much.
I am the closest when it has to do with education in this council. I know the numbers of students that come into your office on daily basis to ask for assistance.
It's very, very rare to see this kind of gesture, to be very honest. I'm here to urge you people, you guys should not take it for granted.
When I interacted with the chairman and he told me he was going to have these events today, I assured him that I was going to be here to identify with him and to also show solidarity for this very visionary approach to leadership.
Some of the beneficiaries had this to say.
I am so delighted, it is the first of its kind right here in Uyo, for a very long time, where the student community have been called by the leadership of the council, to make some sort of a subsidy as far as school fees is concerned.
To do this is a very, very big milestone, especially in the lives of students like myself. And this money will go a long way.
I'm actually doing my project, so it will help me in some little finances I'm supposed to carry out with money, like pay for papers, buy papers, run a few stores, and transportation too.
A total of 393 students drawn from 13 tertiary institutions are enlisted as beneficiaries in the first phase of the 10,000 Naira bursary by the Uyo Local Government Council. Samuel Ayara, AKBC News.
A set of punitive measures have been recommended by a judicial panel to checkmate deliberately abandoned government projects, as well as for people involved in policy failures. A professor of Operations and Research and Strategic Management, University of Uyo, Professor Isaac Ayandele, made the recommendation while presenting the 93rd inaugural lecture of the university. The lecture had as topic wrong diagnosis and policy somersaults the bane of Nigeria's development strides. Margaret Bassey completes the report.
Professor Ayandele posited that the federal government should set up a joint task force comprising labor unions, journalists, and the Nigerian Institute of Estate Valuers to take stock of all abandoned or failed projects and policies with the aim of recovering its values. The inaugural lecturer stated that the decision-making process leading to the commissioning of a project should be scrutinized, even as he solicited for evidence-based options from the civil service to the government. He called for citizens' involvement in monitoring and evaluation of budgeted and funded government projects, as they are long-term investments that would provide job opportunities and serve as source of income to the government.
The environment in our higher institutions are no longer conducive for research, development, innovation and creativity. Our economic prosperity has disappeared and our days of glory postponed. The spirit that binds us together has been destroyed and shattered. The commonwealth of this nation is now in the hands of a negligible few. Nigeria is now a nation in a permanent stupor and always unable to celebrate its victory. Men of ideas have left the stage to be money these roles ragamuffins.
Responding, the Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Nyaudon Dayo, commended the inaugural lecturer for postulating solutions to the many abandoned projects across the country, which he noted would have alleviated the sufferings of the citizenry. Professor Dayo said the inaugural lecture is a major requisite for professors in the institution who must address issues of public importance to a wider audience beyond a classroom setting.
Because I am is better than any system should be part of. The better than ours. He has excelled, he has extruded himself, he has proved that he is a consummate scholar by any dimension. Truly, he wants to demonstrate the problem we have in this country.
High points of the event was the presentation of the 93rd inaugural lecture textbook to the Vice-Chancellor, who in turn presented a plaque to the lecturer. Margaret Bassey, AKBC News.
Lifelong Development Academy, a citadel of learning, has churned out 30 fresh graduates. The event held at the school premises number 2 Ubo Way, opposite Community Secondary Commercial School, Ikor Fort Uyu. It drew attendees from the academia, the business class, family members of the graduates, friends and lovers of self-development. Esther Moran was there for AKBC News.
The director of the academy and former vice-chancellor, University of Uyo, Professor Comfort Ekpo, said her love for self-development, especially younger ones becoming financially independent, fueled her passion for the establishment of Lifelong Development Academy. Professor Ekpo mentioned the 5 core programs offered in the school to include artisanship like auto mechanics and carpentry, as well as welding and fabrication. Others include computer studies, fashion and designing, food and nutrition, and teachers' continuous professional development.
That research made us to come up with a learner-friendly strategy developed and tested for effectiveness. Today, that gap is gradually being filled with the use of the fast-track teaching strategy.
The chairman, Ibom Airport Development Company, Dr. Inyebon Essien, who chaired the occasion, thanked Professor Comfort Ekpo for bringing the wonderful ideas she acquired while at the University of Uyo into Lifelong Development Academy, thus providing students with employability skills which align with Governor Moino's Rise agenda.
Unfortunately, quite a number of the graduates that are coming out may not be employable, but what she's doing now is setting the agenda for the employability of a number of our graduates.
The event, which began with the procession of the 30 graduates accompanied by board members, featured a graduation lecture by the Vice Dean, Student Affairs, University of Uyo, Professor Essien Akpanoko, exhibition of practical works performed by students, presentation of certificates to graduates, and awards to erudite supporters of the academy.
That if you want to succeed in today's world, you must balance that life. And most successful people balance it by establishing consistency in what they do and the values they believe in.
Goodwill messages were presented by a former Vice Chancellor, University of Uyo, Professor Akana Renesian, JAM Coordinator, Akwa Ibom State, Mrs. Grace Olima William, Village Head Ikoro Kubo, Etiro Monday Achibong, and others.
Let's know that God is the one who trains. And as much as you bring God, continue to bring God into this business and this academy, the greatest thing is going to happen for us in future. The best is on the way and around the corner for this academy.
This school will be enlisted in our brochure so that students will pick it as their choices, first choice, second choice, wherever, and they will go in there and come out as successful students.
Esther Warren, AKBC News.
Through the Office of the National Security Advisor and the United Nations Office on Counterterrorism have signed memorandums of understanding to further strengthen counterterrorism efforts in the country. Both parties said at the signing ceremony in Abuja that the documents were in furtherance of Nigeria's joint efforts with the international community in combating the global menace of terrorism, which still remains one of the most complex challenges to peace, security, and stability of nations around the world. According to the head, Strategic Communications, Zakari Mijinyawa, they also pledged continued collaboration to identify, collect, and disseminate good practices and lessons learned and explore new opportunities by promoting dialogue and partnership through the development of capacity building activities. And on that note, we conclude our package this morning. But just before we go, a quick reminder of some of our top stories. I told you that the Akwa Ibom State government has approved additional 150 billion naira as supplementary budget for the state and for the construction of the gully erosion site at Odoiman Street, Uyo. This was among other resolutions were reached at the end of the State Executive Council for the month of August. The NLC has declared a 2-day warning strike scheduled to begin Tuesday, September 5, 2023. NLC President Joe Ajero made the disclosure yesterday during a press conference at the Labour House, Abuja. The 2-day warning strike is to protest against the federal government for failing to address the challenges caused by the removal of fuel subsidy. And as a package this morning, thanks for your time. My name is Mercy Ekiran. Here's wishing you a beautiful weekend. Good morning.